it's Kyla. So today's videos, as usual, is inspired by Kyla, queen of my heart. Zach and I were just watching, Zach, say hi.
Hi.
This is my boyfriend, Zach. I love him to death. Zach and I were just watching Kyla's most recent YouTube videos, and she was talking in this one. She was like, this is me. I am all that I am. Like, I cry too much, probably more than is normal, and I need medication, and I definitely need therapy. Zach was just like, is this you? And I was like, yes. Yes, it is. So today I'm going to talk about, it's kind of a reflection vlog, I guess, video reflection on 2021 and 2022 and my goals for the future and where I am right now and what this year led me to. So first off, I want to talk about a big idea that I thought of when I was just watching Danny's most recent video, which I will also link in the description. She said that don't blame yourself for who you are because you're the result of how you were raised, something like that. She says it more eloquently than that. But I thought about that and I was like, like that's actually really interesting because I think the parts of me that are the most shameful and scary to me are just part of the life I was given. Not necessarily like me. For example, well, they are a part of me, but they're like I don't know. So what I want to talk about is my jealousy. So my jealousy is something that I've dealt with for a very long time, like as long as I can remember. Like some of my earliest memories, I can remember being jealous. And I've talked a lot with my therapist about it, and we've talked a lot about how it really stems from childhood wounds and just childhood like relationships I had and relationships I saw as a child, and just the way I saw power dynamics in relationships and like people like holding power over others and the fact that they don't like that you are less desirable than they are in this inherent thing, and like this inherent lack of self-worth and being like they are better than me, so obviously they're going to leave me. And so I saw that reflected in other people, and then I saw it in myself with my best friend, and it was just a nightmare. And so that's really where most if not all of my jealousy stems from. And I've really been giving myself a lot of compassion lately, and the reason I've been doing so well with my jealousy the past couple months is because, like, I haven't been doing well on plenty of other fronts, but on my jealousy, I've been doing really well because I kind of had this. I'll walk you through my thought process. So it was October. I think it was October. And I was like, I really need a tattoo. And so I was looking at tattoo ideas, and I was like, oh, I should get a Halsey tattoo because I was really getting into Halsey at that time. And I was listening to Halsey as I was thinking about all this, and so the random Halsey song that was on was Devil in Me, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, the devil in me is my jealousy. So like, and like I've always thought of my jealousy, and so then I thought of the devil as like, obviously jealousy is green. That's a basic, I feel like, color theory thing. I don't even know. And then thinking of it with the song Devil in Me, I thought of the devil as the serpent in, the Bible, biblically. And so then I was like, dude, my jealousy is a snake. And like, I kind of want a snake tattoo for my jealousy. So then I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about how I want it, like, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to have like a snake in like a glass, like mason jar type thing. Because like I've always tried to like bottle up my jealousy and like keep it contained and like whatnot. But then the next day, I don't even remember what brought it on, but I was driving home from work, and I was like, I had like the image flashed in my mind of like a tattoo of a snake in like a big open terrarium where it's happy and where it's at peace and where it's taken care of and like allowed to exist as its full authentic self. And so I was like, wait, this is kind of big. And so I just had this epiphany, and I was like, I need to start loving my jealousy. Like, my jealousy isn't something to be afraid of. It's not something to bottle up. It's not something to like suppress. It's just a part of me that really just needs love. Like, my jealousy stems from needing love and not feeling loved as a child. And that's no one's fault. It's just the way the cookie crumbled. And so, you're warm.
It is kind of warm.
And so then I ended up getting this like stuffed weighted snake on Etsy, who I would show you if I wasn't too lazy to get up. And I named her Lily, spelled Lili, and off slightly after Lilith from Halsey / the Bible / if I can't have love, I have power. I want power. And yeah, so that's where I'm at with my jealousy, and I'm really proud of that breakthrough. I think that breakthrough has actually been huge for me and is super important because I've been fighting with my jealousy, like I said, as long as I can remember. And it's been a huge source of contention within myself and like pain within myself for a very long time. And so that breakthrough this year is kind of a big deal. And once I have money, I'm going to get a tattoo of a terrarium with a snake in it to remind myself always to love myself and love my jealousy and love the parts of myself that I maybe don't always like. Zach is going to get Lily for me because he's the best. Look at you. So she's 6 feet long, and she's, how much do you think she weighs? Like 8 pounds?
Yeah.
Like 8 pounds. She's really pretty. She has blue eyes. I don't know if you can see with the lighting, but she has these pretty blue eyes, and I love her dearly. She's my friend. So I think we're gonna wear her for the rest of this video. So anyway, that's the story about Lily, and that's not really what I came here to say, but I wanted to say it anyway, and I think it's important to remember those periods of growth in my life. 2021 recap. Let's start at the beginning of the year. In January of 2021, I was living with Zach in a dorm on our college campus as a senior and going to school. And I had just decided to leave the church. So I decided to leave the church December 17th, 2020. And so January 2021, I was like fresh out of that. And so for the first few months of 2021, probably up until like, honestly, up until May, at least, maybe April, I was thinking a lot, and like most of my mental energy was dedicated to thinking about the church and thinking about leaving the church and thinking about pain with the church and figuring out where I stand with the church and figuring out what my beliefs are and blah, 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 blah. And there was a lot of anger too at that time, and a lot of hurt and pain and like betrayal feelings, and there was just a lot of emotions going on. That was a tumultuous and turbulent time. But then we graduated in May of 2021, and that was honestly kind of also a hard time. I came out to my parents as I told them I was leaving the church. Well, I came out both ways. I came out as pansexual, and I came out as an ex-Mormon at like I think it was like the first week of May, the first Wednesday in May of 2021. And so then I had this like poetry reading, and I was like dressing like immodestly for like all my events on campus, and I had like my graduation events, and it was just like a really divided time because I was really happy in a lot of ways, but I was also hurting a lot because I was really sad that my parents were sad and that I hurt them, and yeah, there was just a lot of sadness, and a lot of sadness that they couldn't see how happy I was, and like they couldn't celebrate me for all I was, and like, you know, anyway. So that was a turbulent time. Then we get to June, and actually flashback, when you met me, you were buzz cut and my hair bleached. Flashback to January. I was super efficient January, like our winter break, our winter intercession as it's called. And I applied to jobs like a mad woman, and I was like going off like looking for teaching jobs. And so I was applying for teaching jobs. I was applying for jobs as a teacher or teacher assistant or teacher training programs, stuff like that. And I applied to City Year, and I got into City Year in March, and I accepted that after a lot of thought, because City Year is that it kind of has a bad rep for how little it pays its employees who aren't actually employees. It's technically a service year, so they're allowed to pay you less than minimum wage for reasons problematic. And so I did a lot of research on that. I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos about like people being like, why I did City Year, how I like City Year, like exposing City Year. And I was like, I took it all into consideration, and I was like, I think City Year is still the right choice for me, and I think I'm still gonna do it, and ultimately it's gonna work out for me. And it has. It's been really tough, and I will not say I've loved every second of it, because I have not, but I do think it was the right choice for me. I do think it's where I'm meant to be. I do think it's the experience I'm meant to be having right now in this point in my life. All that being said, so I enter summer knowing that I have City Year starting in August. And so I'm like, okay, I'll work at Subway for 2 months, because I worked at Subway the summer previous. And so I work at Subway for a month, and I'm like losing my mind. I'm like super depressed, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just depressed out of my mind and hating every second of my life while I'm on Subway. For some strange reason, I was totally fine with it last summer, and then this summer, I'm just like, this past summer, I was like, nope. So amidst all this too, I am searching for an apartment. I'm looking for an apartment because Zach and I moved in together in July, August. So technically we moved into this apartment in August. I was searching for apartments, and that was very stressful. So stressful. I do not look forward to doing it again in very short periods of time. In another 6 months. But yeah, that sucked. So I was stressed with that, and I was stressed with Subway, and I was just like, I hate everything. And so I impulsively applied to Kohl's, Michael's, and Joann's. And I got an interview with Kohl's and got accepted to Kohl's. And so I worked at Kohl's for like a month, basically, because I was like, oh, maybe I'll work at Kohl's like while I'm working at City Year, like in the evenings and stuff. Did not end up happening. That was a foolish plan. So I'm at Kohl's, and that was honestly worse than Subway in some ways. In a lot of ways, it was worse than Subway. I hated every minute of it. It ultimately, I think, ended up being better than Subway for my anxiety at the time, but it still sucked really bad. Will never go back to Kohl's. So I quit there very gracelessly. True. Then I started City Year. And so City Year was a light in the dark. City Year turned my world upside down in a good way. Turned my world around, I guess would be a better way to phrase it. And it was honestly great. I loved... the first month was virtual training, and that kind of sucked because I have possibly ADHD, undiagnosed, unclear. Point is, I have trouble focusing, especially virtual, as I think many people do. And so that was kind of a pain, but I fell in love immediately with my team, and yeah, I just felt really strongly right away that it was where I was supposed to be. And then school started in September, and September through November, maybe October, September and October, and August actually, I was pretty caught up with a certain new best friend who ended up to be kind of worthless. What did she say?
Very worthless.
Yeah, pretty waste of my time. But it wasn't a waste of my time because that's what led me to my Lily jealousy epiphany, and so it was all worth it. But it was kind of annoying, very annoying. And so then I hit my depression slump with seasonal depression, and now we're on the upswing, so all's going well. But I applied to graduate school, MFA programs in creative writing, Masters in Fine Arts in creative writing, and I finished applying to those on December 31st. The last day of 2020. And so that was left in 2021. And then 2022, we enter with high hopes that I will get accepted somewhere that I want to go. So I applied to 19 schools because I'm a little insane, and also because I'm only applying to fully funded programs, and so MFA programs are already incredibly hard to get into. On top of that, if they're fully funded, it's like slim chances. Like, very, very slim chances. And so I'm praying that I get in, because the amount of hours I spent on those applications, if I do not get in, I will have serious problems on my hands. But I have a mostly good feeling about it. I think I'm gonna get in somewhere. Literally have no idea where. I have not a clue, but somewhere. I have a feeling. So 2022, what does it look like? I'm gonna finish up my year of city year. I had a hot second there in December where I was depressed as heck and was like, should I quit? And I was like, no, I'm not quitting. It's right for me to stay here. This is where I'm supposed to be. Also, quitting would cause more problems than it's worth. So I'm staying with city year, and I'm pretty happy with that decision, especially since coming back from break, I've been feeling really good about it. And definitely, like, this is like a reaffirmation that this is where I'm meant to be. So I'm feeling really good about that, and I think I'm also on the upswing with some of my issues I've been having with working with students and stuff. I think I'm kind of starting to figure stuff out a little bit, and I still have a host of other problems, but it's all worth it in the end. So we're doing good there. So city year will go till June 17th is our graduation day. And then school, MFA school, wherever I end up, will presumably start end of August, I presume. So really what we have to worry about are two things. Summer job, moving to grad school. Summer job, I have no idea what I'm going to do, because as shown last summer, I literally hate menial minimum wage, like, especially corporate jobs. Oh, kills me inside. It sucks the soul out of me. Not a good time. But what kind of job am I going to get for like 2 months that's going to fulfill me, you know? So at this point, I'm kind of looking into like some sort of like museum internship maybe, or witch internship. Not sure if there's such a thing as a witch internship, but if there is, I'm signing up for that. So that's my hopes for that. And speaking of witchiness, that's another thing from 2021 that I was blessed with. That really has helped me a lot the past few months. Tarot's been a part of my life. I've talked about this before. Tarot's been a part of my life for a while, but really diving into witchcraft has been really beautiful for me. And I'm still figuring out a lot about what my beliefs are and my beliefs surrounding Christianity and am I a Christian? And all that. And so that's been a really good time. And I think my hope for this year too surrounding that is to rebuild my faith in whatever it is I have faith in, because I did a lot of deconstructing last year, especially at the beginning of the year. And now I kind of need to rebuild and like figure out where I stand now, because right now I know where I don't stand, but where do I actually stand, if that makes sense. So there's that, and then also grad school. So like I said, I have no idea where I'm going to end up. In my ideal world, Zach goes out with me, but Zach isn't totally sure where he's going to end up next year either. He's thinking he might stay and go move back in with his mom and live outside Boston and work doing something there. Tutoring, that's also an option for the summer. Sorry, total off track, but I could also tutor this summer, which might be a good idea. Anyway, so at some point I'm going to be moving somewhere, as far as California, Washington, or Oregon, or as close as Amherst, Massachusetts, or Boston University. So ideally, I'd like to end up moving somewhere, at least further away, even to Amherst. I really just don't want to stay in the Boston area personally. So that's really that on that. I really don't know what the second half of this year is going to look like for me, but what's really cool to me is how okay I am with that right now, and I think it just goes to show how much I've grown and like accepted that I can't predict what's going to happen and that the universe has a bigger plan for me, one more thought, actually. I have a very important thought that I need to share because it's been on my mind. This is unrelated to everything. I've been seeing a lot of posts that are like, I don't know if more than usual, but I've just been seeing posts as usual that are like, your younger self would be proud for you, like look at how far you come, like your younger self would be so proud for how you've accomplished, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, actually no. Like, it kind of hurts a little bit to see posts like that. I don't think they're bad. I think that it's a great idea and a great thing in theory, but it kind of hurts because I'm like, 15-year-old me would be terrified of who I've become. First off,
True.
I'm living with my boyfriend, who I am not married to, who is not a Mormon, and I myself am an ex-Mormon.
Scandalous.
The scandal abounds. I have tattoos. I'm a witch. Who is this horrific creature who is... Yeah, and so it kind of makes me sad for my younger self, but then going back to the whole Lily thing and my jealousy, that, like, those were the circumstances given to her. And so I've grown more into who I am now, and just because my younger self may not have recognized that if she saw me now, doesn't mean I'm still not proud and worthy and, like, proud. Doesn't mean I shouldn't still be proud of how much I've grown. So I'm going to end it on that. Be proud of how much you've grown, no matter what your younger self think. And, yeah, any final thoughts for our viewers, Zach? Oh, I also, before Zach started to swap, I also got 3 tattoos this year, so that was really the highlight of my year.
My final thought is that even if your life doesn't go exactly how you planned or you're not where you pictured you'd be, that doesn't necessarily mean you failed. That just means that you followed a different path, and that path might be more right for you, and you'll sort of discover that as you get older and as more possibilities open up. You'll realize who you are and what you want to do, and it might be a lot different than where you expected you would end up a few years ago, but that isn't a bad thing.
Look at you, you're dropping wisdom. I think I needed to hear that myself.
I think everyone needs to hear that.
All right, well, that's all we have for you today, folks. Bye.